few more tools talking about the doshas because I'm going to be speaking about them quite often. And you don't have to, again, know Ayurveda so deeply, but it does help with the choices oftentimes. So here we have Panchamahabhutas, the 5 elements again, right? All things in the material world are made of these 5 elements. All things are made of these 5 elements. We have the elements that manifest in 3 doshas, which I'll explain what those doshas are. Pitta, Vata, Kapha. Pitta involves fire and water. Vata involves air and space. Kapha involves earth and water. And in terms of the seasons, Pitta is predominant in the summertime and early fall. Vata is fall and early winter. Kapha is late winter, spring, beginning of spring. Okay, and we go much deeper into these by season. So this is all going to, when we do this work, whatever your doshic presentation, the elements that are presenting in the body will also have to do with the seasons, right? Remember the causes of imbalances, one of them being time, seasons, right? So if we're not moving with the seasons, the elements around us, then we could be presented with dis-ease. So these doshas, these elements in the body, broken down. Earth, stability, gives structure. Cold, dry, stable, heavy. These are qualities that the earth embodies. Water. Water is fluid. It has a bondage effect, cohesion. It provides moisture to things. It's cold, moist, stable, heavy. Very heavy. Fire is transformation and conversion, one thing to the next. So when you hear me talk about Agni later on, this is our seat of the fire. It gives heat to things, hot, oily, unstable, light, because it's spreading, right? Fire spreads. Air is a force of movement, regulation. Most heightened form is prana, life force. Cold, dry, mobile, light. Ether, space, manifestation, is the home of all objects in the universe. That expansive and least concentrated, and provides room for anything and everything to grow. It's cold, dry, unstable, and light in terms of qualities. So the elements merge into the 3 doshas, the bioenergies of the universe. And these doshas are defined by the elements, by these qualities like we talked about. And in the body, right, so that's what we have here. In the body, essentially, doshas become metabolic waste, right? Because we extract what we need from them, and then it becomes waste. So that waste, from the elements that we take in, based on the food, because the food also has all of these qualities of these 5 elements, right? Food has different percentages of these elements. They will either be supportive or lead to imbalances. So the doshas that we take in essentially becomes metabolic waste after extraction, and it's either supportive or leads to imbalance. Okay. That's where we are. So kapha, the earth and water, it's energy, structure, growth, and lubrication manifested in the body. Right, so this extraction from what we take that has these kapha qualities: cold, moist, heavy, dense, dull. Think about these like, do I have these qualities or not? In excess or deficiency or balance. Anabolic cellular activity. meaning anabolic is building its accumulation of tissues. It holds cells together into form of muscle, fat, and bones. So someone with kapha would be stable, physical characteristics, large, well-developed, robust, moderate circulation, cool, damp, smooth, like smooth skin, smooth in general, easy to gain, right? Because it's building, strong and dense, right? Deep and pleasant. So these can be physical characteristics, and even how someone speaks with a lot of these tendencies. If you've heard someone speak and they're very grounded, right? They feel like they can just hold you and you just can sink into them, right? A balanced kapha in the mind looks like loving, nurturing, patient, stable, devoted, loyal, peaceful, forgiving, has an excellent memory. And tips for kapha when imbalanced. When prana goes out of balance, mainly through earth and water, so an excess looks like building, all right, could be obesity, allergies, like building of mucus in the sinuses, mucus, congestion, lethargy because of the heaviness, excess sleep, water retention, swellings. So in the mind, it could look like controlling, possessiveness, insecure, materialistic, insensitive, attached, feeling lack of support are all signs of kapha imbalance. And food-wise, these are general, right? Very like high level. It's much deeper than this, and very unique person to person. Balancing kapha. So I just have Beyonce and Jay-Z because they're like clearly balanced kaphas. Breaking a sweat every day, right? Movement helps the opposition of lethargy. Cardio, dance classes, group workouts, being in community, support. Bitter greens is essential. Light fruits, specifically only when you're hungry or using it to rev up the hunger, which we'll talk about later. Reducing dairy, sugar, wheat. And reducing, I'm not saying not have it. It would depend, right? Your unique presentation and what you're working with in terms of protocol. Hot water and teas, using this in a way that is supportive, again, to revving up the digestive capacity. Amalaki and Triphala, herb-wise, we'll talk about that from a unique sense. Breath work is always good too. And then we have Pitta, fire and water, so this energy of transformation, warmth, that which digests. The qualities are light, hot, spreading. It's metabolic cellular activity, which means this force of creating balance between anabolic growth of tissues and catabolic cleansing, right? It's this deterioration or excretion of tissues because it's breaking things down to transform into something else. Thus flushes unnecessary toxins, controls hunger, right? Meaning it's going to send the signals, take in more because we need more to transform into the next thing, right? Thirst, vision, and hearing. So it creates these needs because it wants to do more. Pitta's always wanting to do more. Physical characteristics, good metabolism and digestion, because that is its function, good circulation, toned muscles, warm to literally temperature-wise, easy to blemish, reddish tone, quick to gain and lose weight. So it's just quick, deep and penetrating with like the gaze, with the presence, right? This is an intense force. So balance in the mind would be someone who's intelligent, perceptive, warm and friendly, courageous, good leader, enlightened, energetic, ambitious, sharp, focused. So for imbalance, when the prana is out of balance through fire and water, in the body that could look like migraines, headaches, skin eruptions, nausea, heartburn, acidity, sensitive to heat, excessive thirst and hunger. The mind, it would look like aggression, anger, irritability, vain, manipulating, vindictive, proud, reckless, judgmental, criticizing, impatient, frustration, balancing. So these are some balanced pittas. Cooling and refreshing. Avoid skipping meals. So meaning like have that schedule, a nourishing schedule. Reduce, sleep over coffee. So resting, especially when there's too much fire, too much pitta going on. Avoid excessive sours, especially when there's skin aggravation going on. Rest and cardio combination is huge versus the kapha, which would mean want more cardio. Stay close to nature, beauty, things that are calming. Focus on self-care instead of like creating so much. Stay with the self. Breath work. Always. Vata. Let's talk about Vata, air and space. Vata is the energy that controls movement of all things. It's energizing force of the body, mind, and soul. Prana, which is life force. All these are cold, light, dry, and mobile. Catabolic cellular activity, so that's the elimination of waste, a byproduct of metabolism. So it moves one thing to then the next, and then to the next, and then out of the body. So it's breaking things down, like shredding it up, like air, tornado, shredding things up. Characteristics, extremes, like extremely tall or extremely short or extremely big ears or big nose. So these more extreme features. Lips are generally thin and fragile in general. Good circulation because of the movement, nerve impulses, it dictates, so high nerve impulses, hypermobile joints, cold, are all physical characteristics. Balance in the mind, be energized, adaptable, good communication, positive spirit, creative, easy to contemplate, hidden thoughts, feelings, and actions. So these type of people, they can dig deep onto what someone is feeling, and then what others are feeling, and then what the self is feeling. So this quick movement from one thing to the next. Just overall great at communication and creative. So these are balanced Vata characteristics in the mind. When imbalanced, this is when the prana goes out of balance by way of air and ether. In the body, it could look like constipation, right? Too much air is drying, gas, bloating, PMS, because Vata sits at the hips, the waist down, dry, rough hair and skin, brittle nails, arthritis, muscle spasms, anemia, dehydration, general body pains, pain in general, disturbed sleep, excessive movement, including talking, incessant eating, frequent headaches, excessive weight loss. In the mind, it looked like fear, indecisiveness, agitation, secretiveness, hyperactivity, nervousness, impatience, confusion. Not being able to complete one thing, just moving on to the next. There's just so much movement, inability to rest. So you'll notice there's quite a lot of opportunity to go out of balance with the Vata. It is the strongest dosha. However, it's also the easiest to go in balance. How? Creating routine. 3 meals a day would be ideal for Vatas. Healthy fats, cooked foods, avoiding dry and cold foods, and uncooked foods. Warm water, setting weekly goals, and one thing would be great. This is why what you'll see in the applications will have to do with this. Slow workouts, slowing down in general, breath work. So your prakriti, your nature, your constitution, you're made up of all of these elements, which means you're made up of all of the doshas. And it's just helpful to know which elements are predominant to understand the tendencies the tendencies of why we choose one thing to the next, because like attracts like. If I have high vata, I'm going to want more movement because it makes me feel alive. If I have high pitta, I want to do more passion work. I want to do more activity. I want to more intense fire, spicy things because it makes me feel alive. But then it's not balanced out. Same thing with kapha. I want more sweets, more heaviness because this makes me feel free as a, however, this is the pathology. This is the dosha wanting to grow. So it's helpful to know just what your percentages are, your tendencies. Thus, the dosha's functions in the body will create our essence and our disease. So just information, right? Not bad or good, just information. Every element has assets and liabilities. Not good or bad, just the work. As long as you're in a human body, you're always going to be taking in and letting go of these elements and these doshas. You're always going to be taking things in and needing to let go, just like a car. A car is always doing work. It's always moving. It needs to get its oil changed. Just like the house, living in the house. If you never clean it, it's going to look like a dump after a while. So we always need to just re-assimilate. These will either cause challenges or will leverage a heightened state of existence. So how you move and treat the doshas and treat the inputs and outputs, move with nature, move with the seasons, can create challenges or leverage a heightened state of existence. That's balancing. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey. Happy balancing. I'm excited for you. This has been very dense. This has been a lot of information when it comes to Ayurveda, and it's just the beginning. If you ever wanted to go deeper on what Ayurveda is, there are recommendations in terms of schools that I have for you. But this is just the foundation work so that when you make choices, you know it's coming from a super empowered place, because having more knowledge helps us feel confident in our choices. And if there's resistance, if there's worry, then, oh, wait, I remember. Stress is actually creating imbalance because of X, Y, and Z, right? When it comes to the doshas, it comes to not being able to let go. So, okay, then let me do what I need to do to just come back to a sense of sattva, peace. This information is here for you to feel empowered. So I hope that you're feeling that. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, that is okay. That's also a sign that you're expanding. Overwhelmed doesn't have to be a bad thing. Just know that it's allowing you information that, oh, I'm reaching my capacity. I'm filling my cup up. And now I get to rest, digest, see what's next. Send me a message. Let me know how you're doing. And I'm excited to hear how your worksheets go. Keep on going. Be balanced.